Welcome to episode 117 of the Muck Podcast, a member of the Odd Pods Media Network. Listen in as we discuss the dark and sometimes weird true stories in American politics. I'm Tina Jaramillo.
And I'm Hillary Doherty.
Hillary. Hi. I love this shirt that you're wearing.
So,
it's so cute.
So my daughter and I went to Old Navy last Saturday because if my son doesn't want to go hang out during the day, he's like, I just want to stay home. And I have stopped arguing. I'm like, cool, bye. And so we go and eat lunch together, and then we always go shopping.
Oh.
And so this is a man's shirt. They have like
I love the
matching, and then
so
they have
cute.
matching bathing suits for the men. And so my daughter she got a navy blue one that has like oranges all over it. She's very androgynous, I've realized, with her clothes.
I love it.
Because I go to pick clothes out for her and she's like, no, everything's very in the middle. That's fine with me.
Good.
Although her dad said to me, why does she dress like a boy? And I was like, no, she dresses like a 13-year-old girl who's comfortable. Like, and then we went to the carnival. We went to that carnival and the festival, the Italian festival. And I mean, there's girls walking around that are very young, wearing very inappropriate clothes. And I was like, he was with me and like tits were out, right? And I was like, so is this what you'd like your daughter to dress like? And he's like, no, we're good. And I'm like, that's right. Like, enough already.
Aww.
She's very artsy. That's the only way I could describe it. You know what I mean? She's very much into like art and, she's just fucking the best.
Oh my God.
So I bought this, and then mine has lemons on it. And so I came out when we got home. We tried our clothes on, and I came out. I showed my son the shirt, and he goes, "Yeah, it's like your personality sour."
Woo!
I know, and I went like this, and I was like, "That was a good burn. I'm here for this."
Wow.
Like, yeah, I think they've been around me too long. Is what's happening.
Yes.
So, a couple of things.
Yes.
First of all, I mean, it's been fixed. But I do want to mention that it was kind of hilarious last week that the Florida Democratic Party...
Oh, my God.
who we've said is lost in the woods for the last 30 fucking years.
Oh, God.
And run by a bunch of corporate dicks.
Yeah.
Who don't obviously, have their feet to the fucking ground here.
Who don't even read a newspaper, apparently. They don't even read a newspaper.
And their office is literally located in Tallahassee and have no clue what's going on there because they decided to book their Florida Blue conference, which they do twice a year. I think there's a winter and a summer conference.
Twice a year?
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah. And it's not like they raise any money doing it. And they decided to book their one in June during Pride Month.
That's right.
Disney World. Disney.
Oh, goodness.
Like one of their conference centers there, one of their hotels. Yeah. And the state caucus, the state LGBTQ caucus, who's run by, oh boy, here we go. Stephen Gaskell, excuse me, yes. I'm so sorry. Who's a friend of ours because we do the work with the Dolphins, which is the local LGBTQ caucus. Yeah. And of course, our caucus put out messages going, we're not going to attend. Yeah, we're not attending.
And isn't it on the day of the parade?
Yeah, it's the day of it's the month of Pride, so those weekends are always all taken up. It's Father's Day weekend. It's Juneteenth. Like they did not check the calendar.
God.
They did not check the calendar.
Did they change the date or just the location?
I think both.
Oh, good.
I think both. So they got so much heat, but this one reporter, Mark Caputo, got the information and put it out. So Mark Caputo calls all three gubernatorial candidates for a comment. Hey, what do you think about this? The only one who responded was our BFF Nikki Fried, who was like,
we love you.
Yeah, she said, I don't. This isn't a quote, but basically, this is inappropriate. I will not be attending.
Yes,
if that is where it's kept. No comment from Charlie Crist. No comment from Annette Taddeo. At least at the time of the story. Then these LGBTQ caucuses come out and they're like, "What the fuck?" So they change it. The Florida Democratic Party. But it's just so tone deaf. Of one of the largest bills is "Don't Say Gay" bill. One of the largest bills of the session.
And the whole Disney
involvement
thing. It is insane to me that they would not put that together. Yeah. Especially during Pride Month. It's just every possible thing that should have been hello.
So and then those are the kinds of things, same things with corporations do very white centered kind of advertising and marketing and things like that. It's who's not in the room when making those decisions, right? Who's not in the room with the Florida Democratic Party that you don't know it's Juneteenth, that you don't know it's fucking Pride Month, that you don't know there's a Don't Say Gay bill that Disney was really super involved with because everyone's trying to hold them accountable, even their employees, which is incredible. Who now are saying, Disney is now saying they're no longer going to be giving political donations until they clear this whole thing up.
Good.
And most of their money goes to Republicans. Yeah. It goes to Republicans who supported this thing.
That's the thing. And I have to say, because my husband is anti-corporation and anti-Disney, that we've never gone to Disney World as a family, but a lot of families on both sides of the aisle are throwing a ton of money at Disney World, and then that money's going somewhere else. So
it's not right.
I think we need to hold corporations a little more accountable.
Absolutely. And I just love that.
Because the bottom line is what they listen to. And if it's going to hurt their bottom line, and they're going to lose a lot of people, plus they do a lot of the LGBTQ stuff. So it's
that rainbow corporation, the corporate rainbow kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I always thought the same thing. Although my daughter comes to me and she's like, Disney Plus and Disney, they're taking on the TV channels, they're taking all of these, like, they had amazing pro-LGBTQ, like, characters on these shows. And she's like, all those shows are disappearing. And I'm like, what? She's like, they'll make one movie, like, to wrap it up. And, like, that's it.
Wow.
Yeah, she's very disappointed about this.
Oh, God.
What was I...
Forget it. I'm canceling Disney Plus.
Oh, girl.
Oh, my kids are going to kill me.
Yeah, that's not
But I think that we should.
Well...
Maybe I should.
I just think that it's funny that once a corporation stands up to somebody like DeSantis, we saw him react the same way that Trump would always react. Like, it wasn't like, oh, come on, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It was, we don't need Disney. Disney's wrapped up with China. They're communists. And I was like, damn. Like, it was so fast. It was like within seconds of the guy from the CEO of Disney going, listen, we're all a family. We love our employees. We love LGBTQ. We support everyone. Like, they're like, we're so, like, although their contributions don't really show that. Their contributions to the candidates,
they're trying to do damage control and DeSantis.
Don't really show DeSantis comes out.
I love that he comes out with the communism thing, because remember, like, back in the day with the Red Scare and the McCarthyism, like, Disney was a target for communism.
But it's also like, here's what my supporters can now say. But what also was amazing is that employees at Disneyland in California also walked out.
Good.
Like, in support of Disney employees here.
Good.
And I thought that was fucking incredible.
Man.
Yeah, I loved every second of it. Also, I talked to my sister this week, because after every therapy session, I call my sister. I'm like, here's what I learned how fucked up our childhood was this week. Sorry, Mom and Dad. And listen, everybody's doing their best.
We're all
no blame. We're
all trying to
yeah. Everything that happened, you're just now trying to figure out how to get through it, right? Okay, so I was talking to my sister, and she was like, I feel like I've talked to you all week. I said, what do you mean? She goes, I've been listening to your podcast all week. And I was like, So then she starts telling me about one of her new friends at work, a coworker, is this young teacher who just started. And her name's Virginia. And she's like, she's so cool. She dresses so cool. And like, she helps, she's helping her, like, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So this girl is nominated for, like, Rookie Teacher of the Year, I want to say it's called, for their county.
So cute.
So I hope she gets it. Her name's Virginia. She seems really nice. But anyway, she is now a fan of our podcast. So that's why I wanted to say hi to her. Because she told my sister, I really love podcasts. My sister's like, oh, my sister has a podcast. The girl's like, what? And I was like, did you tell her everybody has a podcast? Like, literally fucking everybody has a podcast.
But it's not our podcast.
Yeah, so they listened to it, and she was like, oh, their voices are perfect.
Oh.
I know. And she teaches, like, I think she teaches history. So, like, that's awesome. Like,
wow.
Right up her alley with this.
This is amazing.
Yeah. Speaking of everybody having a podcast, last Sunday I was at my son's hockey game, and one of his coaches were walking by. I don't ever talk to these coaches. I'm just like, good morning, that kind of thing. And he comes walking up to me. He's a younger guy, and he starts, like, telling me about all of his life. He starts getting tears in his eyes. I mean, I'm literally just sitting here, and the guy's...
What? Why?
I was confused. I was looking around like, does he think I'm someone else? Like, is he confused? I don't know. And I was like, well, he's all sad about life. And I was like, maybe he sees I'm fucking, like, there's a dark cloud over my head all the time. And I was like, I don't know, like Charlie Brown. So he starts talking to me. And I was like, well, is there anything you enjoy doing? He's like, well, I have a podcast. And I was like, in my head, I was like, of course you do. I started laughing so hard. I was like, of course you do. It's called, like, 2 Minutes in the Box. It's like a hockey podcast.
Did you tell him that you have a podcast?
No, I don't want to get involved with, listen,
what?
Because I got to
spread the word, girl.
Because he, you know what he said? He's from Michigan. And he said that everyone here is arrogant, like, I don't know, and like uninformed. And I was just like, well, see, I could take that either way. And he could be talking about Republicans, or he could be talking about Democrats. So I was like, I'm not gonna roll the dice and try to figure out where this guy's from. So
that's hard.
Yeah. P.S. Let's talk about Tina on TikTok. because if you've listened to this podcast, I'm
gonna hide.
No, don't hide, because I'm not a fan of TikTok. I don't have TikTok. I know what it is. I've seen the videos. They're funny. Sometimes I watch it and I'm like, holy fuck, what is this human being? Like, what is this adult doing in their house? They're dancing. Like, I don't get it. Whatever.
No, I'm not dancing.
You're not. She's not dancing. So Tina has plans for this podcast. Like, we are gonna be super famous. Yes. We're gonna make millions and millions of dollars, and then we're gonna be able to tell on our golden hill. We're gonna go like this to everybody, which is what we're doing now. So nothing changes basically. And so Tina's like, TikTok's the way. She's putting fucking TikToks up that are getting 10,000 fucking views.
Oh my god.
9,000 views. It's fucking insane.
It's so funny.
It's insane. And they're good.
But we're gonna do one today.
Yeah. So now she's like, would you do one? And I was like, all right, I'll do it.
I have two planned out for us.
Yeah. So that'll be happening. So look out for me on TikTok. Yes. My TikTok debut.
It's gonna be amazing.
The last thing I wanted to mention is, I don't know if you saw this, but I'm kind of like really excited about this. Not excited like I'm rooting for one or the other, but it's so Broward, and I'm just like, get it, bitch, right? Did you see who announced that they're running for state senate?
No.
Dr. Barbara Sharif.
Oh, I did hear this. Did you see
who she's running against? Who she's challenging in a primary?
Tell me.
Lauren Book.
Ooh! I did hear this. I heard this, and
it's incredible.
Exciting.
It's really exciting. So with all these districts redrawn,
right.
And then Barbara Sharif.
This is someone who, and Lauren Book really hasn't had to run.
That's right.
It's not that she hasn't had to run, but she's
never had a real challenger from a fellow Democrat. And I watched that Barbara Sharif promo video that she put out. Go. It's really fucking good. And so she was a county commissioner who resigned to run when she ran for the Alcee Hastings congressional seat, and she lost that race. So she's now like trying to pivot, and all of these districts are redrawn. And so now Lauren Book has a challenger in the primary. She's currently the state minority leader in the Senate. Her father is a very wealthy lobbyist who gives money to everyone. Every fucking one. Lots of Republicans. Lots of corporate interests there. So she references that in her video. Like, it's time to work for the people and get not corporate interests and bow down to like da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, damn.
So I like the idea of having someone be challenged.
Yeah, they should be challenged.
I don't like the idea if there were like 17 people in this race. No. Like that kind of thing. It's like, can we slow down? Can we just have a couple people think about where these other people might be better suited?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
No, this is good.
But I think this is good.
It's good. And also, what happens now is Lauren Book has to come out and actually meet Democrats.
Yes.
Because I have never, ever seen her at a club meeting, at a caucus meeting,
I saw
never.
her for the first time
at the Roosless event, right? Like, that's so now she has to.
But good. Like,
I mean, listen,
it's part of the job.
So there's a tweet. Anthony Mann put this tweet out saying like Barbara Sharif's running, blah blah blah, and there's comments on there, and there's some guy who's just trolling Lauren Book, but it's all like, her dad gives money to this person, or she votes this way, or she's got Lauren's Kids, which is a private, like, I think it's a nonprofit, and they get money from the state that she actually has voted on or voted with or whatever. Like, these are all like things that are not okay and have been talked about for years,
instead of
and
like
nobody
abstaining
really
from it since she has a vested interest in it.
Right. So there's things like that.
Where are the people? Where are the people to say, hey, this is probably going to pass. Like, just. Don't do that. This could look bad. Don't they have their PR people?
I think really who makes people pay attention is other people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. True. And they put it in the paper.
I mean,
nobody
we should know
with
the Stan podcast, like how many people have not been advised.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
So anyway, I'm very excited, but it's so Broward and so beautiful. I love every second of it. Okay. Are you ready?
You go first. Yes.
I do. Ooh. Okay, I gotta tell you, I am so excited about this fucking story, bitch. I am like,
let me get comfortable.
This woman, like, this is a crazy fucking
this is
story.
A lady?
It's a lady, and this is gonna blow you away because
I'm getting comfortable.
I kind of like we talked about Deep Throat, and how he exposed Watergate. He's the one who did this, but actually. like 2 years before that, before Deep Throat went and talked to Woodward and Bernstein in that garage, or like they sent those messages. Remember that whole thing? It was so good. Go listen to that episode. Wild. I wish I'd written down what episode number it is. Yeah. This woman actually said, these are the people responsible for Watergate. Yeah, and nobody believes her.
No, because she's a woman.
And yeah, they gaslit her, right? Okay.
Wow.
So today, I am covering Martha the Mouth Mitchell.
Oh, Martha the Mouth.
And I'm going to tell you later on, I'm going to tell you at the end, I'll tell you how I found this story and how I heard about this woman, because it's kind of funny too. So, anyway, a little bit about Martha.
I love it.
Yeah. So Martha Elizabeth Beale Jennings Mitchell was born in Pine Bluff, Arkansas on September 2nd, 1918. And she talked less. She had that whole thing, honey, you know. And she liked to gossip. So you imagine she's calling people like, y'all, you better hear this, right? Like, it's so good. So she grew up the only child of cotton broker John V. Beale and drama teacher Ari Beale. And she was living in a rural area, and friends lived far away, right? So even when she went to school, she had to like go into the city. And so the only person she really has a friend was the black woman who worked in their house, who she called Mammy.
Okay.
Which I thought was kind of funny for some reason.
No.
She graduated from Pine Bluff High School in 1937. Under her high school yearbook picture was the quote, "Love its gentle warble, I love its gentle flow, I love to wind my tongue up and I love to let it go."
Ooh, look at that.
It's kind of fun, right?
Wind that tongue
up. Bitch wants to get out. She's like, I'm too big for this city, right? I'm out of here. Oh my God, I love her. So she attended Stevens College in Columbia, Missouri with hopes of studying pre-med. She had wanted to be a pediatrician when she grew up, but blamed her Southern accent for difficulty with learning Greek and Latin.
I mean, I guess.
Instead, she became a Red Cross nurse's aide in one of the organization's very first chapters, and claimed that at one time she had given more hours to the service than anyone else in the country.
Oh, wow.
She eventually transferred to the University of Arkansas at Fayetteville, and finally the University of Miami, Ohio, yeah? She was fascinated by the arts and had dreams of becoming an actress, but her family would not allow it. She ultimately received a BA in history. And after graduation, she worked for about a year as a 7th grade teacher in Mobile, Alabama, before leaving the profession, saying she despised it.
It's a hard job.
Yeah, girl. She returned to Pine Bluff in 1945, and after World War II, she began working as a secretary at the Pine Bluff Arsenal. She soon transferred, along with her boss, who was Brigadier General Augustine Mitchell Prentice, to Washington, D.C. And in Washington, she met Clyde Jennings Jr., a U.S. Army officer from Lynchburg, Virginia. They married on October 5th, 1946, and moved to Rye, New York. And soon after they wed, he was honorably discharged, and he took up work as a traveling handbag salesman. And then they had a son.
That's so random. I forgot that was like a legit thing.
Are you buying handbags for people at your door?
People going door to door selling handbags, Bibles, vacuum cleaners,
fire extinguishers.
It's so weird.
They had a son together, Clyde J. Jennings, on November 2nd, 1947. And Jennings spent a lot of time away from home, right? Because he was traveling all the time, and it led to their separation on May 18th, 1956, and eventual divorce in August of 1957. She once said, as soon as she met John N. Mitchell, who would become her husband, she was, quote, impressed with his suaveness and intellect. Ooh. And the couple married on December 30th, 1957, and stayed in Rye, New York.
Okay, so she has this new.
Yeah, but even when you see his picture, I cannot believe that he's suave. Like, it's honey.
No?
He's got like a pipe. He's bald.
Maybe it's the pipe. Maybe it's the way he chews on the end of that pipe.
I'm like, what? So he was working as a lawyer in Manhattan. He was earning $250,000 a year.
That's why he's suave.
Yeah.
That's right there.
$250,000 a year in the 50s.
Holy crap.
Millionaires, bro. Come on.
Yeah.
On January 10th, 1961, the couple had a daughter, Martha Elizabeth, named after her, but they called the girl Marty, which I kind of liked.
That's kind of cute.
Reminds me of Grease. Remember Marty in Grease? Yeah. So John Mitchell and Richard Nixon's professional careers converged when, on New Year's Eve 1966, their law offices combined to become Nixon, Mudge, Rose, Gunther, Alexander, and Mitchell. So he's working with Richard Nixon as a lawyer
so
in
these
New
are
York.
A bunch of rich
they become
dudes.
friends.
Yeah.
So although their status as friends is debated, when Nixon was elected president in 1968, he appointed John Mitchell as the Attorney General. So now her husband is the Attorney General of the United States.
Wow.
Which is crazy, right?
Wow.
So the position that made it necessary that they move to D.C., and their home was in the fashionable Watergate complex. And at the time, it was estimated to be worth $140,000.
Oh.
Yeah. Martha Mitchell first came to national attention after she remarked to a television reporter that Washington, D.C. peace demonstrations held in November 1969 reminded her husband of a Russian revolution.
Oh.
So here's what our friend does.
So they're like, dude, you got to get your wife.
Yeah, this was a major problem.
You got to muzzle Martha the Mouth over here because
and
those sound bites are not good.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's hilarious, but
it becomes a real problem, and
because the protesters are like, what?
Yeah. Right. Woo! But also, like, people are going to eventually be on their side, so this is, like, not a good idea. But she just didn't give a fuck.
Good
and I think she liked the attention, and she's sharing things, though, that are private. That's a private like conversation you're having with your husband, and she's just telling reporters, you know, fucking wild.
She probably just doesn't realize. Maybe she didn't realize at that time, like that how. Like you're not in Podunk, Arkansas anymore, or a little town.
Could you imagine her husband's probably like, "Shut the fuck up, bitch! What are you doing to me?" Right? So the statement was widely viewed as indiscreet, but it increased her notoriety and coverage in the media. And she had the custom of having an evening drink and then calling reporters with political gossip or information she had gleaned while rifling through her husband's papers. Or eavesdropping on his conversations.
I love her.
Now, meanwhile, so it's 1969,
she's
right?
Like,
yeah. She's like, let's see this. Meanwhile, thank God she doesn't have like a phone. She'd be taking pictures, fucking texting shit. But her hair, like, she had this beautiful blonde hair, like the bangs and this poofy thing, and she had that swoop that like swoops up at the bottom.
Yes,
oh my God!
I remember those.
Oh, wait till you see these pictures of her.
1960s.
It's so fucking good.
And she's rifling. She's got the cigarette dangling out of her mouth. The ash is about to fall.
And the cup with like the fucking what is it called? Like a martini in it. Like she's fucking having her life, living her life, bitch. So during this time, she was known being this outspoken socialite, and she had regular appearances on talk shows and variety shows such as Laugh-In.
Oh my God!
People, like, she's becoming so well known. Right by the following year, November 1970.
Laugh-In. I mean,
that was a huge show.
That was a big show.
Yeah.
They used to write on their bellies.
Yes, and they had like celebrities. They asked funny questions. They do games.
What do you call it? Like a variety show?
Yeah, Goldie Hawn, I think, got her start on Laugh-In.
Yes.
So by the following year, November 1970. A Gallup poll indicated that 76% of Americans recognized who she was, and she made the cover of Time in an issue about the most influential women in Washington, D.C.
Hello, because she's spilling all the dirt.
But people know who she is, too.
Oh, I like that. And is she cute?
Is she
cute?
You know, she looks like, I mean, she's cute. She's, like I said, she has that cute blonde hair, but she's an older woman now, right?
Yeah.
But she's fun. She got a beautiful smile. Like, she just looks happy.
So she's just living her life.
She doesn't give a fuck, bitch, right? Like, does not fucking care. Oh, it's great. So her reputation for frank and uncensored talk, generally in support of Republican issues, you know,
whatever,
led to her being nicknamed Martha the Mouth or the Mouth of the South, because she told black, you know, she has that whole thing. Wait till you hear this thing, right? And she's like doing her whole thing. So Nixon selected John, her husband, to head the committee to re-elect the president, commonly abbreviated as CRP, for the 1972 campaign. Now, CRP becomes very famous because a lot of members of the CRP were caught breaking into Watergate.
So are they like, okay, I'm going to let you do this, but you got to put a muzzle on Martha?
Not at the time. He didn't say it then. But he does eventually.
Oh, no.
So during the campaign, however, Mitchell had begun to complain to her media contacts that the campaign had engaged in dirty tricks to win the election.
Oh,
right?
What?
So
what is she doing? I mean, this is like, she doesn't care.
Does not care.
I love this.
Yeah, but also, like, you're sleeping with this person. Like, I don't...
it's the pillow talk. She's
maybe he was fucking around. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ooh.
So now it's going to start to get really fucking wild, so hang on. A week before the 1972 burglary of the DNC headquarters in the Watergate building, the Mitchells had traveled to Newport Beach, California, to attend a series of fundraising events.
Okay.
So while they're there, her husband receives a phone call about the incident and immediately held a press conference denying any CRP involvement, right? So the way they say it went down is there was somebody waiting outside for these guys to come out. and the cops fucking roll in because the security guard inside the building
saw something,
sees them or sees the flashlights, right?
I mean,
and
it's
calls
so
the police.
Stupid.
Yeah,
it's
and so they get caught. And as they're coming out, these guys that are being arrested are coming out. There's somebody like literally calling John Mitchell from a fucking payphone, like, everybody just got caught. And he like holds his press conference, right? It was like, we're not involved. And it's like, what? Who asked you? Why would anybody ask you that?
Wow.
So he then returns to DC and he encourages his wife to stay in California and enjoy the sunny weather.
Oh, because he knows that she's going to run her mouth.
Yeah. So he then enlists.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So then he enlists their security guard Steve King, who's a former FBI agent, to prevent her from learning about the break-in and contacting reporters. Like, she doesn't know that Watergate has happened, right? So because he knows that she's going to recognize the names of the people who arrested, because one of them was their daughter's old like bodyguard. Like, who's now a part. So she's going to now know that the Republicans, like, they're involved in this, right?
And he knows that she will not be loyal. I love that.
So apparently she just, like he says to the bodyguard, make sure she doesn't get a paper. Make sure she doesn't watch the fucking TV. She doesn't get the news. What does she do in the morning? She immediately calls downstairs and like, can I get a copy of the Los Angeles Times, right? And they're like, sure. They fucking send it right up to her and she's like, what? Like, she's like, holy shit, right? She can't believe what the fuck's going on. So she learns that James W. McCord Jr., who's the security director at the CRP, and like I said, her daughter's former bodyguard and driver, was among those arrested. And she's immediately like, boom, like, this is fucking nuts.
I gotta get on the horn. I gotta get on the horn.
Absolutely, of course. And the detail conflicted with the White House's official story that the break-in was unrelated to the CRP, and that raised her suspicion, right? She's like, wait a minute. So Martha unsuccessfully made attempts to contact her husband by phone, eventually telling one of his aides that her next call would be to the press. Like, get my fucking husband on the phone now, right?
So he called her back right away.
Yeah,
he called her back right away.
So the following Thursday on June 22nd, Mitchell made a late night phone call to Helen Thomas of the United Press, which is who she would call all the time, right?
Oh, I love that it's another woman.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she informs Thomas of her intention to leave her husband until he resigns from the CRP. Like, I'm not going to be with him anymore because he's involved in this thing. And I know that they did this thing, right?
Oh, is Thomas like, no, stay and get the dirt. Stay and get the dirt.
Yeah, we're benefiting from this. Yeah. But the call was ended abruptly. Like, something happened, right? And the phone call ends. So when Thomas calls back, the hotel operator told her that Mitchell was indisposed and would not be able to talk. So Thomas then called John, her husband, the girl, the reporter calls the husband. And he seemed unconcerned and said, quote, Martha gets a little upset about politics, but she loves me and I love her and that's what counts, end quote. Like, that's the quote. So in her subsequent report of the incident, the reporter says that it was apparent that someone had taken the phone from Mitchell's hand and the woman she could hear Martha Mitchell say, quote, you just get away, end quote, right? Like, someone was trying to take the phone from her. So Thomas reports this, and Thomas' account was widely covered in the news and many media outlets.
God, of course, people are like, "What's going on?"
Yeah, they made efforts to find. Yeah, they made efforts to find her for an interview because nobody now knows where she is. She's being held, basically.
Wow!
Right? Yes, it's crazy.
What in the world,
dude? So a few days later, Marcia Kramer, a veteran crime reporter of the New York Daily News, tracked Mitchell to the Westchester Country Club in Rye, New York. Which is where they had moved her.
I mean, if I ever get kidnapped,
instead
of like a dank, dark basement,
Motel 6,
a country club, it doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on, look at who we're talking about here. You know what I mean? She probably thought she was in hell. So she finds, basically, she says she could describe her as a beaten woman who had been incredibly black, who had incredible black and blue marks all over her arms.
No,
right? Because they're holding her down, they're keeping her hostage, basically. And what turned out to be one of her first of many interviews, Mitchell related how in the week following the Watergate burglary, she had been held captive in that California hotel and that it was King, that former FBI agent, who had pulled the phone cord from the wall.
Wow.
And after several attempts to escape from the balcony, she was physically accosted by 5 men who had left her needing stitches.
What?
It gets worse.
And these are her husband's henchmen. These are government.
Yeah, and he told them whatever it takes.
Wow.
And Herb, this is crazy. Wait till you hear this. Herb Kalmbach, who is Nixon's personal lawyer, was summoned to the hotel, and he decided to call for a doctor to inject her with a tranquilizer.
Wow.
Bro.
Wow.
Okay?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I've never heard this story.
I know. But she knows the truth, right? Wow. And that's why they have to keep her quiet.
Wow.
Yeah. So the incident, of course, left her fearing for her life. She didn't know what the fuck was going to happen.
Oh my God.
And although the Watergate burglary was the leading story across all news formats, her reports were relegated to human interest stories in the major newspapers like the Times, the Washington Post, and New York Daily. It's like, oh, she's missing. Like, nobody put those two things together.
Wow.
That the person she's married to is highly involved in the fucking Nixon administration,
and now,
et cetera, et cetera.
And she talks a lot, and now suddenly, she's gone.
So Nixon's aides, in an effort to discredit Mitchell, told the press that she had a drinking problem, which was entirely not true. Or wait, which was not entirely untrue. I misread that. All right, so she likes to drink and talk.
She likes to drink.
But that doesn't mean that bitch is wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck?
Wow. This poor lady.
Bro.
So now they're like, she's a woman, she's a drunk, she's some socialite that wants attention.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, it's crazy, right? So,
no.
They also suggested that she was convalescing in Silver Hill Hospital, a psychiatric facility in Connecticut. Now, here's the thing. They did put her in a hospital, and she was telling them all of these things, and
they think she's
have a thing. Yeah, and there's a thing that came out, like, after all this was proven that she was correct, they have this thing called the Mitchell, the Martha effect. They call it the Martha effect in psychiatry, where somebody is saying something and they're not believing her. Like, remember with the girl with Garfield who was pregnant and was like, I had his baby, he took my baby, and they put her in a psych ward and they wouldn't believe her.
Oh my
That's
God.
the same thing here. Like,
that's like,
nobody would believe her.
And we talked about that during that episode. Like, the scariest thing is that you're in some kind of mental hospital, and you are lucid, you know what you're saying, and that people think you're crazy.
And they're believing whoever put you in there because they're powerful, and, like, they're the president, so they're like, no, the president said she's crazy. Like, so she's stuck in this thing, right?
Oh, my God. And it could not have been great in the 1960s, early 70s. Like, I mean,
they'll just drug you or do you like fucking what's it called, shock therapy?
Yeah, lobotomies.
So initially Mitchell began contacting reporters when her husband's role in the scandal became known in an effort to defend him. Like, now she's trying to
defend him,
like he wasn't there, that kind of thing. But I mean, she's been tortured. Of course it's like whatever that's called, the Stockholm syndrome. So she believed him to be a fall guy and encouraged him to turn against the president. You know, like, this wasn't your idea, that kind of thing. Soon after the burglary, though, John resigned, and citing his desire to spend more time with his family as the reason.
Oh, that's my favorite reason in the world.
Me too. Meanwhile, he's got his wife, like, held down and fucking tranquilized her. You better go spend time with her, you fucking dick. In the meantime, corruption in the GOP had moved sharply into focus for the outspoken Martha, right? So they're all coming after her. In May 1973, she provided sworn testimony in a deposition at the offices of attorney Henry B. Rothblatt in connection with the Democratic Party's $6.4 million civil suit against the CRP, because that's whose offices they broke into, remember? The Mitchells would ultimately separate in September 1973 with John suddenly moving out of the family home with their daughter, Marty. So he took the daughter. On January 1st, 1975, he was convicted of perjury, obstruction of justice, and conspiracy for the involvement in the Watergate break-in, and he served 19 months in federal prison.
Wow.
And they never saw each other again. That was it. He went to prison, that was it. And because of her involvement...
Did she get the daughter back?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure that she's, maybe she was with her when he went to prison, right? Yeah. Because of her involvement in the scandal, she was discredited and abandoned by most of her family, except for her son, Jay. And then it was not until February 1975 that McCord, after having been convicted for his role in the Watergate burglary, admitted that Martha was, in his words, basically kidnapped, and corroborated her story.
Wow!
For years, like 2 years later.
Wow.
He further asserted that H.R. Haldeman, as well as other top aides of President Nixon, had been, quote, jealous of her popularity in the media and had sought out ways to embarrass her.
Oh my God, men and their egos.
Yeah. Nixon was later told interviewer David Frost in 1977 that Martha was a distraction to John Mitchell, such that no one was minding the store. And quote, if it hadn't been for Martha Mitchell, there would have been no Watergate. And
Okay.
So it's Martha Mitchell's fault.
Because she ran
not your fault, right,
she ran
Nixon?
too much.
Yeah. Not your paranoid fucking bullshit.
I often wonder, like, if Watergate happened today, there's no way that other Republicans would have turned.
Look, we had an insurrection.
I know, we had an insurrection.
And these motherfuckers are like, what's the big deal? They were tourists at the fucking Capitol. They were smearing shit everywhere and trying to kill people, but no fucking big deal. There's just people were shot and killed.
Yeah.
But,
Wow.
Yeah, it's somehow some wife's fault. All right, Dick.
Wow.
What a piece of shit fucking Nixon was, by the way.
So gross.
So in 1975, Martha became ill. Right? I know. And as her health declined, she was called on by a small circle of friends that included her reporter and eventually biographer, Winzola McLendon. And McLendon reports that Mitchell was suicidal and without any income.
Oh my God.
Her lawyer, in an ongoing alimony dispute, described her as, quote, desperately ill, without funds and without friends, end quote.
Oh my
So fucking
God.
sad. Even so, her son, who was working as a researcher for the Senate Subcommittee on Internal Security, was said to have cared for her and served as her occasional spokesperson. And in her final days, she subsisted on donations sent by sympathetic supporters. On May 31st, 1976, in the advanced stages of multiple myeloma, which I looked up as a cancer of plasma cells, Mitchell slipped into a coma and died at Memorial Sloan Kettering Hospital in New York City at age 57. Which is so fucking young.
It's so young.
Her son and her estranged husband, John Mitchell, and daughter arrived at her funeral in Pine Bluff shortly after it began. So it was in Arkansas. And the service was held at the First Presbyterian Church. And here's the fucking best part of this story.
Oh, no.
You want to hear the best part? It's so good.
Oh,
no,
good.
it's good. It's
okay,
good.
Okay.
An anonymous supporter, who is apparently an admiral in California, sent a floral arrangement to the funeral in white chrysanthemums spelled out, Martha was right. And I have a picture
of her funeral?
At her funeral.
Yes.
One of those big funeral things.
Oh my God,
and
that
it said
gave
Martha
me,
was right.
Oh my God, that gave me goosebumps. Can we get that on a picture?
Yes. That picture is fucking incredible. I mean, holy shit.
Wow.
In 1975, that's not long after all of this went down. Like, she didn't, you know what I mean?
No. Oh,
it's bullshit.
This poor woman.
Yeah. So here's how I know about her. I'm watching, like, YouTube, I don't know, whatever, and, shit fucking comes up. A trailer comes up for a TV show called Gaslit. It's going to be on Starz. It comes out April 24th. And it's this woman. And she's got the whole fucking thing. And she's played by Julia Roberts. And Sean Penn plays John Mitchell.
What?
And it's going to be a TV series. And I was like, who the fuck is this woman? And she comes out. She puts her glasses, these white fucking glasses on. She's got this beautiful, like, fucking 1970s outfit. And she lights a cigarette. And all these reporters are there. And she goes, anybody have a question for me? Like that. I was like, who is this woman? It's her. She plays Martha Mitchell.
Ooh.
It's called Gaslit. That's going to be so good.
That sounds amazing.
And Julia Roberts got that flip hairdo. Oh my God, it's so fucking good.
That sounds so good.
And so basically, she said these are the people who did fucking Watergate like years before it was actually proven.
I can't wait.
The best.
That was so good.
Oh my God, I love it.
Martha was right.
Martha was right.
That's another T-shirt on the merch that we're actually going to make one day. I
love
promise.
it. Yes.
We got to do it.
Well,
that'll be our summer project.
Oh God.
Are we ready?
Yes.
Ooh! All right. Today, I'm going to tell you the story of James Henry Hammond. So James Henry Hammond was an awful pro-slavery politician steeped in controversy. But when his diary is published nearly 100 years after his death, it adds even more shame to his already shameful legacy.
Oh my God. What could be more shameful? Rape?
Yeah.
God damn it!
I know, sorry.
Oh my God. Why?
All right, so
why are men so fucking predictable?
So,
but yet also so mysterious. Like, I don't fucking get them. But then I'm like, oh, yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
God damn it.
So this is an old-timey story, and it takes place during the early to mid-1800s in South Carolina. So this guy was a career politician. The one thing that I found both fascinating and terrible simultaneously is the reports that I've read, because there are, there were some articles I read that kind of really highlighted what a jerk he was, but then like some of the South Carolina history articles,
those are my favorites,
sort of just kind of wash over how truly awful he was.
That's how it was with Strom Thurmond. I kept finding all these South Carolina like Hall of Fame, and I'm like, really? We're putting him in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah,
okay.
and he had this like strong pro-slavery stance, and one of the statements was like, these statements would appear racist by modern readers. Well, they were racist then too.
Wow.
Let's not pretend.
Yeah.
All right. So South Carolina Encyclopedia noted that Hammond was born in 1807, and he was homeschooled by his father, who was a teacher. And as a teenager, he attended South Carolina College. He was 16. But I think back then, like, you could go to college a little younger than we kind of do today. And he wasn't the brightest scholar, according to the article, but he ended up leading a campus organization called the Euphratean Society, and that's where he learned to debate. So it was like this literary society, and they would hold debates and do different things, and that's where he kind of honed those skills.
Okay.
So he starts his political career like many others before and after him as an attorney, and he's one of those guys who didn't go to law school, but he apprenticed with some law office, and then he took the bar and passed. So that's how he ended up doing it. And he also worked as a journalist, and he started a newspaper called the Southern Times, and it did not last long. It was like 1 year that he had this newspaper. And according to Ciaran Conleaf's article for Headstuff, Hammond, from the beginning, seemed to like younger women.
Oh,
so
no,
girls,
no,
really.
No.
So when he was 23, and this is around 1831, he proposed to a 16-year-old rich...
He was 21?
He was 23.
Okay.
And she's 16.
Okay.
And she was this rich heiress named Catherine Elizabeth Fitzsimmons. Now, her family was like, you just want to marry, because her father had died, and so she had this big dowry. Like, she had all this money, and her family was like, you just want her for her dead dad's money. And he's like, no way.
Dead dad's money.
Yeah, no. No way. I love this girl. So they asked him to refuse the dowry. They're like, okay, if you want to just marry her for love.
Please.
And so he did, but they end up getting married, and he gets the dowry anyway. You know what I mean? Like, he plays the game, and he ends up with everything. And back then, everything included 7,500 acres plantation.
Holy shit.
Plantation.
Of course.
And 147 slaves included on that plantation.
147?
147 slaves.
Holy shit.
So he goes from lawyer to planter. And because of like all of that land, and you also... Back then, it was like how many slaves you own, like that kind of gave you status and worth. So he, that gives him like social cred back then.
Wow.
Yeah. Because you had to be like over 100 slaves or whatever. And it put him in the upper echelons of like the South Carolinian society.
Wow. So
now like that kind of gets him into the political arena a little bit, along with that newspaper that he first started. So he and his wife... they went on to have 8 children together.
Oh my God.
I just feel like I don't think any woman should have to push out that many babies.
It's a lot.
Ugh. So that newspaper that he started, basically what he was doing with that newspaper, he started it in 1830 to provide this soapbox for his ideas on nullification. And he didn't think that the South Carolinians should have to pay federal tax.
Oh boy.
So that's where his newspaper kind of got attention. And again, so now he's got this land. He's married this rich person. He's got this status that's growing. He puts this newspaper out about, we don't want to pay federal tax. And now he's got attention from other politicians who encourage him to run for office. So,
I think it's funny that it's. Does anybody look down upon? I wonder at the time if anybody would look down upon a man who marries into money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And gets that power. Like, is he given that same sort of respect than the other way around, where a woman would marry into money and she's like a gold digger?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think some people like saw like that's what he may have been up to. So in 1834, Hammond runs for and wins a U.S. House seat, and he ran on that idea of nullification.
Oh my God.
Conleaf notes, though, that his position as a congressman was short-lived because the stress of the job exacerbated his stomach ulcer. So he was like, this is too stressful for me. So he resigned like just 1 year shy of being on like the job. So he was like, I'm out.
Dang.
But then in 1839, he runs for office again, this time as governor. So maybe he like didn't want that U.S. House seat, or I don't know, but he runs for governor. And this is after he returns from a European trip where the Free Society of Europe somehow convinced him that slavery was a necessity to avoid poverty. So he goes to Europe and he's like, oh, look, people are free here. And somehow, and that's that idea, right? That like you're going to lose money, right? Because it's land, power, all of that. So that's that's how he comes back with this like strong idea of that. And it's disgusting. And he ends up losing. So my favorite part, though, is like he built this like townhouse near the Capitol because he thought he was going to win, and then he lost. So, like, but in 1842, he runs for governor again, and this time he wins.
No!
Yes. So here's what he did as governor, according to Conleaf's article. He reorganized the state militia. And
that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Doesn't DeSantis have his private fucking military?
Oh, God. And then he fought to secede from the Union, again, because of those federal taxes. But that got blocked by Senator John Calhoun. So he wanted to try to get South Carolina out, and, like, it didn't happen. And then after his first term as governor, he wants to run for a U.S. Senate seat. So
Jesus,
this is
sit still for anything.
No, this is where the major incident comes in.
Okay.
So recall that Hammond was married to Elizabeth Fitzsimmons. Now, his wife had a brother-in-law from that marriage. So his sister, or her sister's husband.
Right.
Okay. And that guy was Wade Hampton II. Now, according to Conleaf, and I got a lot of this from her Headspace article, the Hamptons were political, and they helped Hammond with his career. So because they had a lot of money.
Right, her sister, of
and
course.
They had, the Hamptons, like, on their own outside of, like, the Fitzsimmons money.
Okay,
like,
the brother-in-law.
Yeah. The brother-in-law has all this money. And he worked as an aide to future President Andrew Jackson.
Wow.
And Wade's dad was a lieutenant colonel in the Revolutionary War. So they had this political pool.
Wow. And
they were rich plantation owners. He was a slave owner as well. He owned 3,000 slaves.
Oh my!
3,000
what?
slaves.
Hold on.
I know.
How is that even a fucking real thing?
It's a thing.
3,000 people?
3,000 people. Yeah. So, I know. They're awful.
I thought 147 was a lot.
Yeah.
3,000 people?
3,000.
Oh my God.
But they pulled their political power away from Hammond when they learned some pretty horrific things about him. So in 1857, when Hammond is running for that U.S. Senate seat, one of Wade's daughters, this is Hammond's niece, tells her dad, Wade, that her Uncle James had molested her and her sisters for years, whenever he visited them. So Wade flips out. Right? Like, he's like, what? Like, they're on some family trip. And she's like, by the way, Dad. And she tells him, like, not just me, but, like, all of us. Like, he's been doing this.
Oh, my God.
And Multier News reported that when Wade first found out, he wanted to challenge Hammond to a duel.
Fucking A!
Like,
what's the challenge? Walk up and shoot this motherfucker already.
Right.
Don't have to do a turn, 10 spaces in a turn. Just fucking 2 spaces and turn around and shoot it right in the fucking back of the head.
And it's so hard for me because,
this motherfucker.
Because this guy, Wade, is disgusting too. He's owning
Of course.
Beings.
Oh, listen.
Like, it's like...
win-win. Maybe they can shoot each other.
I know.
But my God.
But Wade's business buddies, like, really his friends around him said, look, do not kill him physically. What you're going to do, destroy his reputation.
Okay.
This is what you're going to do. Because killing him, like, you probably end up in trouble, etc. So Wade brought attention to Hammond's actions, and it was a scandal that, like, damaged his career, right? Like, he lets it come out. And because of the time period, Conleaf noted that one of Wade's contemporaries said, quote, no man who valued his standing could marry one of the Hampton girls. Because they would be considered damaged goods. Oh, and no. He's because men are so damn gross, all 4 of his girls never married. No one ever married them after this scandal and that's got out.
Was he doing anything to his daughters?
So, well, I don't know if he had, out of his 8 kids.
Yeah.
Well, yes and no, but not from his wife.
Okay, got it. Okay. We'll get there. We'll get there,
yes. So, and over 100 years later, in 1989, like, the family finally, like, releases these diaries.
Oh my God.
And his diary is published, and he wrote about the encounters. And he blamed the, quote, lovely and luscious girls for, quote, permitting my hands to stray unchecked. That's what he wrote in his diary.
I can't.
Can you imagine? This is what he wrote down. Like, in his mind, it's their fault.
Piece of shit.
It's their fault.
Wow.
Yes. So the South Carolina Encyclopedia article on Hammond referred to the rape of his nieces as, quote, sexual indiscretions.
What?
Today. I was reading. It was on the South Carolina Encyclopedia.
We gotta do something about
Can you
that.
imagine that?
You fucking idiots.
Imagine that? His sexual indiscretions. He raped 4 girls.
Holy
4 years.
shit.
Molested them for 4 years.
Holy
His family members. But it's sexual indiscretions. That when I was like, I'm gonna lose my mind.
I mean, that's one way to say
I'm gonna lose my mind.
Wow.
Like we still cannot admit today that this guy's a piece of garbage. We're just gonna give him a pass. We're gonna just keep giving men passes.
Wow. South Carolina.
I mean,
get your fucking shit together.
I mean,
every time we
doing?
come here, it's the South Carolina.
I know.
And you got a rapist as a fucking governor? Although, I mean, DeSantis is bad, but my God, I don't think he's a fucking rapist. My God, this is fucking insane.
But he supports Matt Gaetz. So.
That's true. Never mind.
I mean, so
damn, what a fucking state! What a fucking state this is.
So not only did Hammond rape his nieces.
No. The slaves.
To make matters worse, he also started raping one of his slaves named Sally Johnson. She was 18 at the time. And she had a daughter who is believed to be his daughter. And when that girl was 12, he started to rape her too. So, and this is what came out. I can't imagine like how many other instances. So Conley wrote that his wife Catherine flipped and demanded that he sell the 2 slaves, but he didn't. So she left him and took the kids. Because she's like, if you're not going to like sell these 2 slaves, like somehow... Like I don't.
That's how she fit. That's how she fixes resolves.
Yes, and it's like instead of leaving him for harming, these 2 women,
protecting them.
Yeah, no, she's like, and then he blamed his wife's mother for the divorce, and he said, "I trace it all to the horrible connection which Satan seduced me into forming with the vulgar Fitzsimmons family, whose low Irish descent and hypocrisy can only be compared with their low Irish pride, selfishness, and utter want of refinement and tone. So he'll take their money, but now they're this base, low class people." I love
Irish gets thrown in there.
I mean,
wow.
Well, I mean, back then, because Irish was considered,
Jesus.
So then, after all of this, in 1957, he wins a U.S. Senate seat.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny. I was just thinking while I watched this week that beautiful U.S. Supreme Court Justice nominee who's going to be fucking put up. Well, I watched Lindsey Graham, who's a senator from South fucking Carolina.
He's so gross.
I thought to myself, you know, it's so funny that South Carolina has got a Lindsey Graham, a Strom Thurmond, and this fucking guy. You guys really need to figure this out.
Yes.
Because
you
Lindsey,
gotta fix it.
I think Lindsey Graham took Strom Thurmond's seat, maybe. I don't know if he served with Strom Thurmond, but I think he, that's the fucking...
They're still here.
That's what you're giving us. That's what you're giving us. Your best is Lindsey Graham?
Yeah.
And listen, and I know we have no room to talk. Our best is not Marco Rubio, and our best is not Rick Scott. It just isn't our best.
Yeah, we're not blaming all the people of South Carolina, but
holy shit, dude.
Please.
That's fucking insane. He gets reelected?
He got elected to the Senate seat, yep. And he was worse than ever. He wanted the death penalty for abolitionists. And here's one of his quotes regarding slavery. I firmly believe that American slavery is not only not a sin, but especially commanded by God through Moses and approved by Christ through his apostles. Did you know that?
Wow.
Did you know
he's out of his mind?
God.
He's a mental patient.
It's like, hey, this is what we need.
He's out of his mind.
He's out of his mind.
And the fact that he blames there's always somebody else's fault for things that he's fucking doing.
Yes. But somehow God has said, yes, this is what you need to do.
It's so fucked up too, because wouldn't it be a great thing to like walk around the world and be like, there's just no self-control. So everything that you do that's wrong, you can say is somebody else's fault and somehow justify that you should be doing it because God said it's okay for you.
Oh my
like
God.
all of these evil things that he's doing, he thinks are okay because God approves it, or somebody else has allowed him to do it. It takes there's no responsibility whatsoever. What a fucking life that is.
Yeah, to have no
wouldn't you love to just just pick up and take off and do whatever you want?
God.
Jesus Christ.
So he also came up with what would become known as the mudsill theory.
What?
And so the mudsill theory is, quote, in all social systems, there must be a class to do the menial duties, to perform the drudgery of life. Such a class you must have, or you would not have that other class which leads progress, civilization, and refinement. It constitutes the very mudsill of society and of political government. So, yeah. Right? So
refinement means you get to rape little girls and progress.
And you just get to sit there and everybody else does the work for you.
Okay.
And so, and that's why he believed, like, if you got rid of slavery, then it would lead to poverty. And he also had this to say, quote, "You dare not make war on cotton. No power on earth dares to make war upon it. Cotton is king." So, because he understands the money.
Yeah.
Right? But the thing that is funny is that some sites, like, they'll just quote him as, like, cotton is king, but, like, none of the context of, like, what he's saying about the mudsill theory and everything is on the backs of slaves.
Right.
And, like, that's how, like, we have to maintain our power and this and that, right? It's just this little cotton is king. And it's like, well, there's a lot underneath that statement.
Wow.
It's so gross. And another garbage quote from this guy, "I believe slavery to be the greatest of all the great blessings which a kind of providence has bestowed upon our glorious region." So, of course, there were no charges, no sentencing, nothing. Some of the aftermath, after leaving the Senate in 1861, Hammond, in support of the Confederacy, suggested banning the private export of cotton to hold on to it as a means of keeping the Confederacy financially stable. So he wanted to manipulate that to try to...
I mean, that makes sense.
Have money and fund the war. So he may have been out of office, but he was still advocating for the South. And at this time, he had shifted. So remember before, like, he wanted to secede from the Union, but at this time he's like, no, that was a bad idea. Like, we have to stay. And he wanted the South to, of course, win. And he thought that the Union and the Confederacy could somehow work things out. And then he ended up dying in 1864. So some points of interest, some of Hammond's letters, and they were found in 1978. But again, they weren't published till later. And according to Conleaf of Headspace, they suggested that Hammond may have been engaging in a homosexual relationship while in college with his friend Thomas Jefferson Withers. An excerpt from a letter from Withers to Hammond reads, and this is from the guy, his roommate, to Hammond. "I feel some inclination to learn whether you yet sleep in your shirt tail and whether you yet have the extravagant delight of poking and punching a writhing bedfellow with your long flesh and pole.
What?
The exquisite touches of which I have often had the honor of feeling."
Oh, they were fucking. This is incredible.
Some people try to say that this was about Hammond's restless sleeping. But I'm sorry.
A fleshy, long...
The extravagant delight of poking and punching a writhing bedfellow with your long flesh and pole. No. Hi.
Hot. Yeah. It's incredibly hot.
Woo!
Send me that so I can look at it later.
Oh my God. There's
What's going on with this guy? I'm so confused.
There's some flirty flirt happening with him.
And it's a lot more proper than the text you see now where it's like, show me your tits.
I know.
Send nudes. Oh, you're so romantic.
I know, this long flesh and
we've
pole.
gone downhill.
Oh my God.
Actually.
So Hammond had a reputation from the beginning as being a pain in the ass. And so remember, he went on that trip to Europe and he gets in trouble when he's there. And he is in Belgium. And Conleaf writes that Hammond thought that they were overcharging him at the inn that he was staying at on this trip.
Yeah.
So he tries to take off without paying. But this is like back then they have the horse and carriage. So he's like out there and he's like trying to get away. And one of the employees grabs the horse, like grabs the reins, and tries to stop it. But Hammond beats the guy with a cane, like just beats the heck out of this guy. And this is highlighting this attitude of Hammond because he believed that servant was below him.
Of course.
Right? And so he believed that his status justified his behavior and therefore he couldn't get in trouble for it. And therefore that guy could be beat because I'm at a higher level.
Of course, yes.
But in Europe and in Belgium, they're like, yeah, no, dude, you can't just go around beating people like this. So he had to like hightail it out of there so that he wouldn't get in trouble. So he had to leave the country. And it's just like this, it's, this slavery is an illness. You know, like the attitude towards slavery, it's a mental illness.
Yeah.
It's a mental, the violence, it's this colonizer's condition that has warped their mind in some way that they believe that they can treat other people any way that they choose. And we've talked about it before, but I feel like that's, been passed on and passed on. We're still suffering from it in different forms today.
Absolutely. I was going to say, you said this mentality. I'm like, that fucking shit still exists. It's called bias, white supremacy. It's still fucking in us. I mean, it still exists today.
So good.
Hello. Ahmaud Arbery was chased down the street, and thank God those 3 were held accountable for fucking murder.
Finally.
But it's the same thing where they feel like this person jogging is somehow, because of their fucking, black people are criminals. He's gonna commit a crime. I gotta get him out of my neighborhood. It's this so fucking warped thing. They chase him down with guns. I mean, what the fuck are you doing?
And with a vehicle. Oh. Another interesting thing I found was that the House at the time in 1844 had a gag rule in place to prevent any debate on slavery.
Wow.
Very convenient. Isn't that wild?
Well, remember when Rick Scott was our governor and you couldn't say climate change?
Yeah.
He said that was a ban.
Yeah.
Climate change was banned.
There was a gag rule. A New York Times article explored Hammond's diaries and called him out for the horrific man that he was. And it revealed that he had, quote, a horrifically high death rate for his slaves. And in less than 10 years, 78 slaves had died. In less than a 10-year period. That's a lot. That's a lot. I just can't imagine how horrific his treatment must have been.
And he was raping more than that one woman.
Oh, he had to.
And her daughter.
Yes.
Like, that's no way.
In 1966, I thought this was interesting. There's still a school. It was called the James H. Hammond Academy, and it was founded as a segregation academy. So these were private schools that opened up in the southern states as all-white schools, and it was their way for parents to maintain segregation, to keep their white kids out of desegregated schools. In 1976, though, the Supreme Court ruled that segregated private schools were unconstitutional. The school was named after him because his grandson had given a ton of money for the school to be founded. I mean, it makes sense, right, that this horrible guy would have horrible family members who were like, we're going to start a school for all white kids. But the school is still there. In 1989, they changed the name to Hammond School to adopt a global purpose. Other sources say like they wanted to get the James H. Hammond so that it's
fucking
not
shit just came out. Yeah.
Not connected to him.
It's the same year, 1989. It's the same year all this stuff was published. Yes.
And so it still is like a private day school today. Of course, there are kids who are not all white that go there, but I did read that there are incidents of racism that are still happening at that school.
And surprise, surprise.
And I feel like they should just change, they got to change the name. But changing the name is not going to change the culture of schools like that. But wow. And that's the story of the perverted pedophilia. I don't want to say pedophilia. I guess he is, yeah. Politician James Henry Hammond.
Wow.
Gross. So gross. Like, our history is so disgusting. And that like there's a school named after him. The article is his sexual indiscretions. Like, I mean, the article should say he was a rapist.
Yeah.
He was a rapist who raped his nieces for years. All 4 of them.
But the violence around slavery, the violent ideas, just that whole thing too is just such an issue. It's such a problem. I mean, he's beating somebody in Europe. He's raping girls. Yeah. God knows what's happening with the slaves. Like, his whole mentality, it's all violence.
It's all violence.
Anger. Ugh. For what? But where the hell did that come from? Like, what is your problem? Like, get your shit together, man. Yeah. Figure this out. But my God, nobody kills this guy? I mean, what the fuck?
Nope. Just lived his life. It's so gross. And then he had a school named after him. And you know that his family, that intergenerational wealth, if you have money to found, like, you get to put a private school together, they still have money from that.
Yeah. I wonder what's going on with that. I wonder who they contribute, who they give money to in the state. I wonder who they, what policies that would they're be behind. Interesting to
see.
I'd love to hear about that.
See if any of his family members are like politicians.
Yeah. And who they give money to.
Yeah. The Lindsey Grahams of the world, maybe?
Yeah, of course. I have never in my life, like, I watched snippets from the hearings this week, but like it's, they can't attack her, so they ask questions about like those red meat things. Yeah,
it's all the red
meat issues.
It's all dog whistles.
Yeah, that were happening in Florida.
Like it's a CRT.
Yeah, like Ted Cruz with the books, and I was like,
oh my God, it was so embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. It's a clip that he can, I guess, play and be proud of.
But well, did you see that he was like checking Twitter?
No.
So in the middle of the hearing, like he would say something and then he was going on to see like how many, you know, was it like were his followers like, yeah, burn, way to go,
but it's just it's so inappropriate, and it's also just a waste of time, like just to tell people like this is where you stand on critical race theory. And she literally was like, I don't know these books. I'm here to talk to you about being a judge. Like what about
can you define woman for me? And she's like, I'm not a biologist.
It's
like,
so fucking dumb.
Oh my god.
But like, who are you as an elected official? Like, don't you have any fucking pride left? Don't you have anything left besides that? Like the GOP handing you notes to like bring something up, or this feign, like this acting of like you're Lindsey Graham acting like he's upset about. She gave an explanation about pornography and like the distribution of pornography and how it's different, like, or child pornography, and how people are like, as a judge, she sits on a panel that has to determine like how people are given terms based on how many images they've given. It was before the internet where they would give them so much time, because one picture versus collecting pictures for 10 years and then having 100, that's aggravated because you're actually doing this. And how it's changed with the internet, because you can do one click and have 1 million photos, or distribute 1 million, and maybe even that was an accident or whatever. Like you don't know that you're doing that. But how is that aggravated after one click that you can send 1 million because now everything's changed? Like, she's explaining this to him. And I'm getting it. I'm like, cool, yeah, I got it. And he's like, no, that's outrageous. You're not tough on child pornography. And she's like,
yeah.
Like, how the fuck do you get that? And why are you angry, Lindsey Graham?
Oh my god.
Why are you so fucking angry?
Because she's a black woman?
And he can't say, he says, before he attacks, he goes, you're very lovely, very lovely woman. And then boom, like this child pornography stuff. And I was like, it's not even something to get upset about.
Well, the thing is that Amy Coney Barrett,
oh my god,
who's a crazy religious nut job, she went through with no experience. No experience.
Tina?
Brett Kavanaugh, no experience. Like, you can see the amount of years of experience. She blows everybody out. And the other guy that's got to go is Mr. Sick, Clarence Thomas.
Oh my god, I was going to bring this up!
And his wife.
This is fucking crazy.
His wife alone.
Where's my?
He should be out.
I gotta read this to you.
His wife alone should be out.
Oh my god. He should
resign from that seat.
This is fucking nuts, because you know why?
He's got to resign because she's in bed. With all of them.
And all these tweets have come out. That Clarence Thomas's wife, who's a huge fucking QAnon conspiracy theorist,
he's got to get off of the Supreme Court. I'm sorry.
Was texting with the chief of staff of Trump about trying to overturn the election. And here's the fucking thing.
He can't be unbiased here.
No.
He's got to get out.
Here's the fucking tweet.
But he will never resign.
Here's the tweet that I thought was incredible. So the New York, this is from Jane Mayer, she works for the New Yorker. She wrote, quote, so the New Yorker reported, instead of recusing himself, Clarence Thomas was the only vote to block the January 6th committee from getting Trump's papers. Mark Meadows, who was the chief of staff, filed a supporting brief, and Ginny's texts to Meadows were at stake. So he knows that his wife's information. He's the only fucking Supreme Court justice that voted that way.
He's got to get out.
They
have to get rid of him, but they're not going to get rid of him because they're a bunch of hypocrites.
Yeah.
They are a bunch of hypocrites, and they don't care about our government. They don't care about our country. They only care about their power.
Yeah.
It's so gross. And they held the Supreme Court hostage. They took away a pick from Obama, and now they're going to try to do it again.
No, they're not going to do it with this one. No way. No fucking way. She's going through.
She better go through, and guess what? That guy better either die or step down so that we can get another one on there.
Yeah. But as far as like Clarence Thomas's wife, some of those texts too were like, again, very QAnon conspiracy theories about the election.
It's like
very exactly the QAnon stuff, and then also like very like Christian conservative wacky stuff where it's like Jesus intends for Trump. Like they're trying to take away Jesus's choice for president.
I'm sorry, but guess what?
This is one of the most influential women in Washington, D.C.
The Bible was a story. You can't, we can't be ruled by this story, by stories. It's lovely, lovely parables. You want to turn the other cheek, great. But I'm sorry. you cannot dictate to the rest of the world your interpretation of someone else's story. Like, it can't.
You know, if this motherfucker runs again, which maybe he will, just for the PAC money, but like,
oh God,
if he runs again and win, he could win.
Oh yeah,
easy.
No.
Biden is.
Oh God.
I don't know if we got enough of a record there, but like,
what do we do?
I got to tell you, I don't think we could survive another 4 years of this guy. I'm serious. And I got to tell you.
Oh no, if he's going to be buddy with Putin.
Yeah, we're fucked. But
and
also,
oh God.
I think the same thing about DeSantis. Our friend Tracy asked me last night, which is the most important race? I said, there's only one race in Florida this year. There's only one race, and that's for governor.
Yeah.
I don't care. I mean, I want Val Demings to win. I want Rubio out. But mostly because there was an editorial yesterday in Sun Sentinel on the Friday, what was yesterday? March 25th. There's an editorial about Marco Rubio and how he's missed 50 committee meetings since 2017. He will not confirm. He's on
such a lazy bum.
He's on a committee that this woman has been waiting to be confirmed to like a foreign blah 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 blah. She put out a tweet years ago insulting or like criticizing the person who's the head of that committee and some other Republican. So he refuses to hold committee meetings to qualify her or whatever.
How is that allowed? How is that allowed?
But he's holding...
They just obstruct and hold back.
Also in that editorial, they talked about how during Trump administration, Rubio was like voting for things, right? That were like... So these same things have come up again, but Biden is the president. He refuses to support it and has quotes about how he supports this thing, but now doesn't support it. Like, it's fucking insane. He does nothing for us. No. It's time for him to go the fuck home.
He's a puppet. He's got someone's hands up his behind, and it's telling him what to do.
And I want Val Demings to win, and I'll do whatever it takes to get Val Demings to fucking win, honestly.
God,
but in Florida, the number one fucking priority here is the fucking governor's race. Yes. Because we cannot flip enough seats in the Senate or the House. We don't know how to do that. We don't know how to do it.
No.
Because we have a party that's out of their fucking minds and are so fucking incompetent. They're so fucking incompetent. It makes me insane. So that's the race.
Yes.
That's the fucking race. Because at least if we have a governor, they will not sign all of this horrible fucking bills. Shit. We have to stop it. We are fucking dying here.
Go back and undo what's already been done.
We can't. Well, I'm sure there's ways that we can do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure that she'll figure it out because she's a lot like a Whitmer who goes around. And see, now what's going to happen is when our beloved Nikki Fried gets elected governor, which is going to fucking happen because I'm manifesting that shit every fucking day.
Please.
They tried to, what they did in Michigan is the Republicans in Michigan, then when Whitmer wins, they try to pass things to take her power away. That'll happen here. Believe me, that's what's going to happen. She'll figure it out though because she's fucking smart.
Yeah.
And I believe she can win statewide. I don't want to hear any more bullshit. Let me tell you something else. If one more old motherfucker in Florida comes up to me, some Democrat, and goes, well, I'm supporting Charlie Crist, I'm going to bitch slap that motherfucker. Don't fucking doubt it. Because you motherfuckers, you old Democrats, who can't see past your fucking noses to understand that this state is progressive.
We need young progressive
Stop
people.
This bullshit. Stop supporting Charlie Crist. He can't win.
No.
I can't take it. He cannot win.
He
and
can't.
you know what? I love that gentleman, our friend who runs his campaign.
Yes.
God bless you. I love you. I love seeing your beautiful smiling face. You're so handsome and so cute. I want to give you a hug every second. I love you. I do. But please, he can't win. He has been proven over, and he's run twice now since he was governor and left that seat because God knows why. He wanted to be a senator. And by the way, got Rick Scott instead.
Oh,
thanks.
Thank you.
So he can't win statewide. We know this.
No.
And he cannot beat DeSantis. And here's why. The second Charlie Crist is our nominee, every attack from fucking August, the end of August when the primary is, through November is going to be that we don't know what Charlie we're going to get.
Yeah.
When Charlie Crist filed and came out, that's the first fucking sentence that DeSantis has said about him. Is that, well, who's running? The independent, the Democrat, the Republican?
Yeah.
And that is what the message will be. And they are not wrong. And guess what? I can't fight that argument because I don't know who the fuck Charlie Crist is.
Yeah.
I got to tell you something else. I don't think Charlie Crist knows who the fuck he is. So if you can't be as authentic as you are in your real life, how do I trust you as a fucking Democrat running for office? I don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't like... I want to be that person. I want to put the blinders on, Tina. I want to just say, I'm going to support whoever's running.
No.
That's very you'll get my vote. Yeah. But it's very difficult for me
not
to
in the primary.
Be honest and truthful with who I am and where I stand on things. I'm not a politico. I may know a lot of this stuff, but I don't play those fucking games. Yeah. I don't have fake friends telling me bullshit and me believing them they're bullshit. I don't fucking care. I'm not friends with you. I have a job. I have a life. This is not my fucking life. So, fuck that. If Nikki Fried's not the fucking winner of that primary, we are going to have major fucking problems. And I'm going to tell you something else.
Oh, tell it.
If fucking Charlie Crist wins the primary, my first tweet is to Annette Taddeo. And I'm going to thank her for taking all of the votes away from Nikki Fried. Because that's what's going to fucking happen.
Oh, no,
Annette Taddeo is a fucking plant.
Yes.
Put there to distract people from the real candidate, which is Nikki Fried. And
it's a selfish move.
Yeah. And Charlie Crist and Annette Taddeo are very good friends. Ooh. And she was his lieutenant governor nominee. And maybe if he wins the primary, she's been promised this. I don't know. We'll see. But I have a feeling.
But the state's at stake. The state is at stake.
All of this is bullshit because
the state is at stake.
There are really important things happening here. We are in a really fucking bad place. A really bad place. And it's not the red meat social issues. It's like real people are losing their homes. They're living in the streets because all of a sudden their rent or their mortgage or their rent goes up $500 a month. They're living in cars.
You can't buy anything
with their children. I can't. It's just so fucking insane to me.
It's insane.
And they redrew this district that I live in. Now we're in District 100, by the way. This Chip LaMarca motherfucker, he's going to be my rep again. Come on.
Oh, God.
They redrew it so he's got all the rich area.
Yeah.
And they love him.
They do.
Talked to somebody last night who just moved here, a Democrat. He just moved here from D.C. Very nice man. He was told by the other gays in his building that Chip LaMarca's not that bad. And I had to correct him on that and be like, please take this message back to your friends in your building that Chip LaMarca's a major piece of shit.
Oh my God.
And you know what? It was a very clear, we knew when he asked permission not to vote for when he said, can I vote against Don't Say Gay?
Garbage.
And he voted against it. That was the point. That man standing in front of me last night, that's when I was severely depressed still today. But last night when he said that, I thought to myself, that was the point of him voting against this.
Yeah.
Because then the gays in those buildings, who are really just less social issues, more about their money, which is their concern, the economy, fine. These things don't matter to them.
Oh, well, that was a great ending to the show.
We're in so much trouble.
We are. I can't. It's gonna trigger my migraine again.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Tina. I also want to say congratulations to our friends at Keeping Up with the Kardashians because they scored this huge interview and they finally announced it because we saw it on our Odd Pods chat.
Yeah.
But they have Will Wheaton.
Wow.
I know he was on.
He's like King of the Nerds.
Yes. And still so cute.
Yeah.
But he's on Next Generation Star Trek. Yes. But I always love him from Stand By Me.
Yeah, Stand By Me.
Oh my God. So I want to say congratulations to them. I think it comes out April 11th. I think they announced it's coming out. So good on them.
So exciting.
Yeah, they're good guys.
They're amazing.
So that's it. That's a good note to end on.
Yes, that's a very good note. All right.
Tina. Bye.
Bye.